What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here, talking today about the weird multiplayer in Ghost of Tsushima. Now, let me just be clear right up front, I don't mean weird in a negative sense. This is some exceptionally fun content. It's nice to be able to hop online and slash people up, but this is a video that I'm not exactly sure how to make. Now, if you've been subscribed for a while, I'm sure you remember the fact that I initially reviewed this game 3 months ago and completely loved it. This is honestly my favorite game so far of the entire year. It is just so fun to explore Tsushima, hack up different opponents, learn ninja abilities. I mean, there is so much in this game that was just so finely tuned, and I really loved it. But this update is strange to me because it's not really downloadable content. When I review games, typically it's something that's big and crazy and usually paid for stuff. It's normally stuff like I'm either paying $60 for the game up front or I'm paying for like a $20 DLC. This is completely free. If you have the game, it's now possible to just jump online and experience this huge, very interesting new mode that is multiplayer. It's tons of different co-op missions, it's survival, it's some really interesting choices, and it's just a new standalone thing. So I want to dive into it because it feels like an addition that I'm not sure I've seen before, and it makes the game I've already been enjoying and is now personally my favorite game of the entire year suddenly being 10 times better. Okay, so you may be asking, well, that sounds interesting, but what is it exactly I'm going to be doing within this new Legends expansion pack, so to speak? Well, there's two separate parts of this. All of it is co-op, all of this is online, all of this is very cool, but there are these 9 new story missions that can be played in 2-player co-op and have you doing some stuff that couldn't exist in the main game. Now, I was really kind of just super invested in every part of the Tsushima landscape, but the main story that we initially played through, it was very grounded in reality, right? I mean, yes, it was a little bit fantastical because we were a swordsman taking on an entire army single-handedly, pushing them back into the sea, but that still seemed like it was trying to be based in actual fact. A fantastical version of fact, but still historical in some sense. Whereas now, in Legends, this is pure fantasy. In this, we're going to be doing things like fighting off ghosts, summoning up our own little spirit animals, doing special attacks, or doing like ranged revives. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in this that is now just purely magical, and you're even fighting like demons and stuff, but that's kind of why I like it. It's nice to see them be so grounded in the original story, and now here, finally just leaning into it and saying, you know what, there's just so much delicious Japanese mythology, let's show that off. Let's let people really experience these cool pieces of folklore that maybe they wouldn't see normally. So in the 9 story missions, while you're playing through these are typically different like glances of mythology. Pieces like there's an old legend of like this witch that stole the hearts of twins and bound soldiers together. So if one died, the other could still live. And so in this mission, you have to try and take down these people that are magically linked, which means you and your co-op partner have to fight off a bunch of very strong enemies and they have to die at the same time. This is nice because there's a bunch of just interesting added challenges. Things like stronger enemies, people that can heal each other, and everybody has this real nice demonic sense. I like to see this game go from trying to be historical to just trying to be awesome. It's also really fun that a lot of these missions start off quite simple and can become incredibly difficult as you go through the different difficulty options. Everything has a bronze, silver, and gold medal attached. And trust me when I say the hardest mode is very hard indeed. And even now I have not finished them, but I'm excited to try and level up more and just annihilate them at some points. Now I'm going to talk more about the leveling system in a second, but first let's look at the other style of gameplay in this, which is the survival mode. Now this is honestly what I thought the entire thing was going to be. This is 4-player co-op, and in this you and each of the players jump in and fight off 15 waves of increasingly difficult difficult enemies. Now this could be stuff like huge shieldmen and bannermen and archers and stuff from the main story coming back to try and just to really mix things up, and it's pretty difficult. Honestly, each of the times that I did this, like every time I beat survival mode, it took about 35 to 40 minutes because each of these 15 waves does become more difficult. They also sprinkle in some very difficult boss waves, and as an interesting added twist, there is the ability that as you're killing a bunch of these people, you're getting these special bonus points that can be spent in the middle of the round to purchase bonuses. You can do things like get extra ammunition, be able to make it where everybody has full health. It makes it where it almost reminds me of the Call of Duty Zombies mode. Now, why are you going to be doing this? What's the extra added element that's going to keep you coming back more than just 30 minutes as you enjoy each of the modes once? Well, here's where the different classes come in. Now, this is probably what I like the most, but I'm also kind of realizing that this is definitely something that was probably designed from the start just to be something that's a fun added bonus. This isn't a huge expansive thing. And to be clear, I'm glad this isn't a standalone game. There is some great ideas in this, but it doesn't deserve to be standalone. It was very smart of them to just throw it in with the existing Ghost of Tsushima. But these classes, this is where the game really manages to shine and let each person's little tastes kind of find their style, their niche. There are 4 different classes. There's a long-ranged hunter, there is a hefty samurai who can swing his big old blade, there's a stealthy assassin which can do things like not only do a bunch of stealth attacks, but do things like unleash clouds of poison to stun groups of enemies at once and disappear, and there's also the skillful Ronin. Now, each of these classes has a lot of overlap. They have a lot of the same basic abilities, so a lot of these dudes are going to be able to do the same stuff. They all have basically the same weapons. It's their special abilities that really change stuff up. This is where they can do things like one of the characters can summon ghost wolves, which will grab enemies' weapons and stun them. So if you're in a big group, it's very useful to be able to drop a couple wolves in there and kind of distract as you focus them down. Or if you want to try and play more of a support role, there's a skill that lets you revive teammates instantly from anywhere on the map. And I like that each of these characters is different. I like that they're all good, but I can definitely tell that these are just to try and keep you playing. Each of these 4 classes has 20 different levels, and as you level up, you get more abilities, more skills, and you have more chances to tinker with your gear. This is fun. I'm really glad that this is just being added into the game because in my opinion, Ghost of Tsushima was already a 10 out of 10. Straight up, I think that this is the best game of the year, and now that it has this, just being thrown in to reward everybody who already loved the experience. People like me, I already have the Platinum Trophy. This was a great reward to keep me coming back and to keep me loving the island of Tsushima. So yes, I don't even know if I should put a number on this, but if I had to, I'd still give it an absolutely perfect 10 out of 10. But these have just been some off-the-cuff thoughts about Ghost of Tsushima because honestly I wanted to talk about it. It's fun. I've been having a bunch of fun with it, so I hope you're enjoying it. Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. Oh man, this has been great. What a nice little surprise. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.